up? Welcome to the Stat Guy Show, episode number 44. Joining me tonight is the man who won the most recent MPK Invitational event, Mr. Giuseppe Gentile. How you doing, sir?
All right, buddy. How about yourself?
Good, man. Good. What's going on? Where you at right now?
We're at a restaurant down here. Where we at?
Del Rey Restaurant.
Chris Michael, how you doing, sir?
What's up, man?
Good to see you, man. So what's up, guys? What's going on? So you got a little break right now. What's the plan for the Gucci Nova during the break here?
Well, basically, we're just working on getting it ready, man. We got to keep. It's a full-time job, right? People don't realize what we got to do, but it's just ordering parts, getting ready for the 8 in a row, getting pistons and rings and parts and rods, just making sure we have everything we need to stay on top of it, right? If something happens, we got to have spare parts, this and that, to make the next weekend. So basically just doing that, organizing. I don't know, Chris, right? Every day we're doing something.
Yeah, every day on the phone, every day making phone calls, every day checking in with Larry Jeffers on how the car is coming, just getting ready for the brutal 8 out of 9, 9 out of 10, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
what do we got? 10 left. I think we got 10 left, and only like 2 weeks in between those 10 or something. So it's going to be, it'll be tough, man. Yeah.
Speaking of that, so obviously you got the announcement that they're going to have a Vegas race. So finally we get a West Coast race coming your way for you guys.
I'm excited, man.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Oh, dude, I'm loving that. That's like my home track. I've won a lot of races there. Know that place really good. So the Vegas is we're excited about it, man. We plan on having a big party out there and having some fun for sure.
Yeah, that's our hometown. That's our hometown track. We're gonna have a lot of people out there. We've been waiting for this, right, Seth?
We've been talking like, oh man, they got to get Vegas. They got to get Vegas. So I'm hoping everybody comes out to that one. All the local guys support it, and just good turnout so we can get it again next year.
Yeah, man. I'm happy for you guys. I'm glad you West Coast guys finally get some races your way. Seems like you guys are always traveling everywhere but on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So the Vegas track, we don't know what's going to happen yet, but obviously that's a 4-wide track. Have you ever raced as a 4-wide there, Giuseppe?
Oh yeah, I've done a 4-wide grudge, the first ever 4-wide grudge in Vegas that I did, that we won. That was, I forget what year, but we did that, which it was Eric Kilvog, Bodie, me, and Woody. And there was radial prep on 2 lanes and slick prep, and me and Bodie were on the slick prep, and I ended up winning that. So that was awesome. That was like everybody put $2,500. That was $10,000.
Nice.
And then I did another one for NHRA and exhibition 4-wide, won that one, and I think we did another one. I actually didn't win that one. Runner up. So I've done them. Yeah, I've done 4-wide. I've raced it a few times. So I'm pretty good. If they do a 4-wide deal, I'd be excited about that.
Yeah, it sounds like, I don't know if they'll do it for the Invitational or something, but it sounds like maybe they'll have some kind of exhibition or grudge or something. So that'd be cool.
Yes.
You say you've done the 4-wide. What's in my mind, not knowing about it, not knowing much about it, my thing is like, is the challenging part the staging in the 4-wide? Is that like the most challenging part of it?
So the 4-wide, the challenge is, you got to watch the stage, the bulb. So now if I'm in there's the first lane, the second lane, third and fourth, right? So if I'm in the second, I got to look over the tree and watch that side of the tree. So, and then now too, and this happened where a guy was red light and always jumping because he was a little slower. So he's trying to, anticipate the light. If I'm on that side too, and he jumps, and your reaction is to chase, because you're just waiting for something, right? Boom.
Yeah.
You're out. So 4-wide's tricky, man. You got to really know what you're doing with that, with the 4-wide. And I've done it, and I've been good at it. And the guy actually did that, jumped on, and I waited and still won. So that was there's some stuff there with the 4-wide which would be tricky for the no prep, But I heard they might not do it. So as of right now,
Yeah, you never know. It's always up in the air probably till.
You never know. It might be some exhibition.
Friday.
Yeah.
So since we got you here, Chris, I want to ask you guys a couple questions because I personally don't know like the whole history between you two and the Nova and everything like that. So how did the Nova start, the Gucci Nova? Like where did that come about? And how did the decision to have Giuseppe drive that? How did that come about?
That's a real funny story, actually. So probably 7 years ago, I'm watching TV and I turn on Street Outlaws, and I go, "What is this show?" And I love racing. I grew up racing. I raced on the street a little bit. I did import racing. So years later, I'm watching this show and I'm like, "This is great." And I wanted to build a car. I wanted to get back into it, but it was on a much higher level than I'm used to. But I wanted to build a badass car. So I started off building a car in California, not really knowing what I'm doing. And I met Patrick Barnhill and Mark Washington, and they all decided I should take the car and have it finished at Larry Jeffers Race Cars. I'm like, who's Larry? You know, who? I'm like, what do you mean you want me to go to St. Louis? Like, it's a big deal. Like, so we end up taking it there, and Larry looked at the car and said, no. And he said, sell it, let me build you one. Well, I got on the plane in shock that he couldn't repair the car. And right when I got off the plane, he called me and said, dude, I want to build you a car. I'm going to work with you. So from that day on, me and Larry have been like brothers. And I was doing a twin turbo at the time. So I'm watching Giuseppe in Vegas do this 4-wide deal. And one of our friends knew Giuseppe. And I go, hey, I want to call this guy and ask him some questions. I'm learning. Giuseppe was kind enough to take my call, talk to me for an hour, a few different days about it, the setup, what I should do. Became friends. Now I met Bodie, became friends. And I said, Seppi, will you drive my car? You know, it's a little out of my league, but I'm building a really nice car. So Seppi flew out to Larry Jeffers, got fitted for it. And then Bodie last minute said, hey, I got a deal for you. I'm not going to drive my car this year. Let's make a deal. And Seppi was still involved with Bob and all that, so it worked out. And we've been friends ever since. Yeah. Ever since.
Nice. For Giuseppe, how did that, when Chris approached you to drive the car, I know you have your own cars and stuff like that. How'd that go down for you?
Well, it was cool. I mean, like I said, we hung out. We flew to Florida. We hang out. I mean, it was me and Bob, which he's on our team now and stuff too and everything. So at the time we had our car and it was like, okay, you know what, do your deal with Bodie, and they got their deal going. Yep. And then Bodie called me. I mean, we could get into a long story, but Bodie had called me and says, hey man, I want to do my, he'll do his own thing. Everybody's cool, no problem. Yep. But Bodie's like, man, I'd rather just do my own thing. And I said, okay, cool. He goes, well, you want to drive it? And I said, man, I don't know. Let me talk to Bob. We all came together.
That was after the first half.
After the first half, after the car was wrecked,
Yep.
And then it came together and everything was smooth. And I said, yeah, man, I'll do it. And I was right on like, okay, let's do the turbo. Chris was like, I want to see what we can do with the turbo. And I said, okay, it's not the right combo. And we went back and forth. And he's like, dude, let's just see. And I said, all right, let's just run it and let's go out and have some fun. And we did.
When I built the car, twin turbo was sort of the thing going on.
Yeah.
But it took a few years to get the car going. So by the time I finished the car, everybody was converting over to screw blower, pro charger, whatever. And so when Seppi came aboard, he's like, dude, we have to change everything. And I'm like, wait a minute, dude. This is a 3-4 year deal. We had 6 races with it in No Prep Kings, and I got to switch everything over. And he's like, yep. So we did it, right?
Yeah, we switched it. Yeah. We did it right. I mean, it was a lot to do it right. But Chris is like, dude, I don't want to go. And I've said it before. I don't want to go. I want to win now. I don't want to go hang out, and I want to win. I said, okay, we got to do this. And we did everything, right? Everything.
Yeah, that's one thing we both agree on.
Yeah.
If we're going to every race this year and we're going to compete and give it our all, there's no shortcuts.
Yeah.
We're all in. So if that took going fuel tech, that took going pro charger, extra motor, whatever it was, we were both all in.
Yeah, 100%. So, and this year I'm taking time off of work where I wasn't before, like kind of going back and forth. I said, okay, I want to give it a fair shot this year and race like everybody else. Yeah. So I stay out there with the car and service and work on it. You got to do it, So I'm like, okay, let's go all in. And so far we've been getting great results, So it's working. And obviously now we won the race.
And our crew is the best.
Yeah.
I mean, their family, their friends. Seppi's been dealing with Bob and Troy and a few of the others, Jack, for a long time.
Yeah, known for years. Yeah. Yep.
So our team is there every week. We talk every day. and we're all on the same page. We all have a same goal. It's been great. It's been great.
Nice, man. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you guys have been so successful through these first 5 races, and you ain't gonna have success unless you guys are all working together. So it's cool to see. I know there's a few owners and drivers on the No Prep King circuit, but you guys have had the most success right now, man. And obviously, you guys get along great. You have to be friends to do this, right? Decisions got to be made, and I'm sure there's some disagreements over things, but you guys have been successful, man, so far. It must be going well.
And I'll tell you what people don't know out there. Giuseppe's not only a chassis guy, a driver, and a tuner.
Yeah, we pretty much do it all. Yeah, I pretty much do it all. Set up the car and this, that, and But yeah, pretty much do it all.
They're learning this year.
Yeah,
they're learning.
That's awesome, man.
A big shout out to Ryan Martin for picking us on his team. He's been a great team captain, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a great team captain.
Ryan stepped up, showing us a little bit, giving us ideas what we need to run too, which all helps. Giving us, hey, you got to run this fast on this surface. This guy runs this fast. All his data that he's got on people, it's been huge. Because that's the hardest thing is knowing what you got to run. And
let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about the No Prep King season so far. So obviously in Ohio, you were drafted by Ryan. Now I had heard you might have been testing with Ryan previous to that. Was that like a job interview, kind of, Giuseppe?
It wasn't planned. We had the track rented, and we had told the guy, hey, if somebody wants to run, that's okay. Let's do it, because it was kind of pricey, and we wanted some cars there anyways. So we ended up going there, and then they're saying, oh, Ryan's coming. I'm like, all right, that's fine, whatever. We don't care, So it ended up turning into like an interview, I guess, because Ryan ended up being there. He saw the first run the car made. We rolled right off the chassis dyno. We had some stuff we had to do. Rolled off the chassis dyno. I mean, it made a killer hit right off the trailer, smooth and fast. He didn't know the time. And then the second run, it was faster and smoother, right? I mean, and it was. And then he was like, "Oh man, that was pretty good." Started talking, came over, and blah blah blah. I'm like, "Here, dude, I'm going to show you." Oh, he's going to show you right now.
I'm going to show.
He's going to show you how we got the job right here. This is how we got the job. Don't show him the time slip, just the picture.
All right. So,
but anyways, I'm like, here, Ryan, I'm going to show you the time slip. I mean, that way you believe me, it's not bullshit numbers. And he saw it, and he was like, okay. And at that time, we never talked, hey, I'm going to pick you or nothing.
Okay.
We all went out to dinner, and our family we all went out together, hung out that night. And I've talked to Ryan before. I've known Ryan over the years. We've talked many times before. But and then man, not knowing nothing draft, he picks me out first draft. I'm like, oh shit. And he's like, oh man, you're fast, da da da. And then he put me back, and I said, that mother. I don't want to say fucker. I said he picked me out, and then I go what? And then he picked Robin Roberts. I'm like, okay, cool. That's a smart pick,
Yeah.
And then I go, if he goes around me on the second round, I said, oh, he just did that, And I'm like, he's going to go around me. He's going to go around me. He picked me out, said, sorry, man.
Right.
And yeah.
Show him the title, too.
Hang on 1 second. Let me
can zoom in here.
Let me get the zoom in here first.
So that was it right there.
Where everything changed.
So that was when we showed Ryan the time slip, and he was like, all right. And then he knew we were running, and and he knows, I do my own stuff too. We do our own stuff in house. So that helped. He asked that when we went to dinner. He's like, well, who's tuning is doing it? I said, we're doing it. We're doing it ourselves. He liked that idea. So we didn't have to depend on nobody, and we could do that, so.
And I think when we went to dinner that night, he wanted to get a feel for who we were, where we're at on this, if we're all in, if we all gel as a family, because I could tell Ryan Martin's a family guy, and that was a big deal that night. That was a big deal. Yeah, so that interview went on that night too. Not even really knowing it, but it did like, hey, Chris, you all in? Will you do it? And he knew, Chris was all in. And he says, okay, you got to have somebody who can do every race. If not, I don't want you. So it was like, okay, we can do every race this year. And I told him my story. I said, I'm going to be coming to all the races. So, and then it just worked out, man. So,
man, that's awesome. How is the atmosphere on the team? I know you guys are used to Team Cali and everything like that, but you guys are on different teams, hanging out with different guys, sharing information. How has the team atmosphere been on on Ryan Martin's team.
Great. Yeah, we all
love it.
Yeah, Brooders, Robin,
Brooders are great.
Chuck.
Robin's great, Chuck. Yeah.
I've always been friends too with Chuck. He'd always come by. We'd always talk. Me too. Chuck Seisinger would always talk. So the atmosphere is great, man. Everybody's really cool and good on the team, so we all get along.
And I'm the newbie, but I'm going to tell you, until you get to know who Robin Roberts is, he's a good guy.
Yeah,
really good guy.
100%. I agree with that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys got quite the veteran crew, I'd say. When Ryan was you got to know you guys have been around.
Yeah.
No Prep Kings is not a secret to you guys, So it's cool to see you guys are in third right now, which we've seen, which is a good spot to be. I mean, you're not that many points out of first, and we've seen what can happen in one weekend with Kai going into New Hampshire. Kai was leading, and all of a sudden, one bad weekend, and he's down to fourth place now for the team. So
yeah. Oh yeah, the team. We're really not that far out of it. If you look at it, I mean, one race can change everything. Yeah.
Right, for sure. So obviously we got to talk about it, Giuseppe. So the last race, the most previous race, New Hampshire, you get your first career No Prep Kings win, man. First off, when did you know you really had I mean, I'm sure you have the confidence every time you go up there, you have the car to win the race, but at some point you had to know hey man, if I just don't mess this up, man, we're gonna win this race tonight. I mean, when did that happen? And then how did you celebrate after you won?
So going into that race, I don't know why, I just felt like this is the race we're gonna win. So we got there, we swapped the motor. I said, dude, the motor was just blowing a little oil. The ring seal wasn't good on the motor, the other motor. We didn't hurt anything. It just wasn't good from the get-go. So we had the motor fresh back from Noonan, and we said, you know what, I said, man, let's just do it. And Chris was like, do whatever you want to do. I said, let's just put the fresh motor in. So we put the fresh motor in, and I just felt good about it. Even before we made any runs, I'm like, man, I feel like we're going to haul ass. And I was like, this is the one to win, because you win one the week before and you lose the next week. You only enjoy it for 3 days, right? You're traveling. Right now, we're enjoying it for 5 weeks, whatever off. So we can have dinner. We're celebrating every chance we get. We're using an excuse every time, man. Go out and we got to celebrate the win. I celebrated with my buddies the other day too, my old friends, and just going on and on. So I guess when we ran Murder Nova was kind of like the tune-up. I want to say I didn't really get after, not get after. I don't want to say that. I don't want to use that word, but I knew he was close. And I said, man, this is close. And we're getting beat. Every time we've lost all year has been by a fender or inches, right? They've been so close. And I said, man, I got to make a move. And before we even drew Ryan, I said, okay, we're gonna turn it up. And then we drew Ryan. I was like, okay, we got to even go a little bit more. So there's some stuff I was trying, getting the cylinders and the fueling right out the back so we don't hurt the motor, getting all that right. And I said, okay, I just got to get after it. And we got after it, and then beat Ryan. And I knew Ryan was running good because he tested and saved a bunch of stuff. Yeah. And Ryan, that was the closest run there. I mean, and once we beat Ryan, I said, okay, we just got to make clean runs here. And we did. But I guess after Ryan, I felt a little bit more confident.
Yeah.
Who was after Ryan?
Yeah. And then Ryan, and then Nate.
Oh, Nate.
Yeah, Nate. Yeah, Nate was probably for me the payback, right? I was most excited. Ryan, I was
Kentucky,
our team.
Down.
Yeah, the Kentucky. He beat us on the oil down, and I didn't bring the laptop. I mean, there's a story there. I mean, I don't make excuses, but it was hot. And now we're bringing the laptop. But normally I was like, I'm not going to need to change a tune-up because we're second pair. The sun's out. There's no way I'm going to need to change a tune-up. Well, oil down, this, that. And then I remember coming from the top end, I said, man, it's getting good, the track. He pulled the laptop out, and sun was going down. The track felt like, oh, man, I should have thrown more, but I didn't have the laptop. We had to get ready. So I was like, man, I need to get him back, And, so that was for me was a good payback. So beat Nate, that was the biggest one.
That was a good run.
That was a good run. Nate was fast.
Hard, and we did too. That was a good.
Yeah, that was a good race. Again, every single race has been close. Every race I've won, we won or lost, has been
for you to win that race in New England. Everybody went A to B. Everybody was fast.
Oh yeah,
and you picked all the draws.
Yeah. We didn't have not one easy draw, or there's not many easy draws anymore, but I mean, we got the best almost,
the best of the best.
Let's put down. We had Lutz. We had Murder Nova, Sean, Ryan, third round, Nate, and Kayla. So, yeah, there was no easy rounds there. So,
no, and you, Giuseppe, you pretty much raced everybody this year.
yes.
I was looking at your head-to-head stats. I'm like, there's nobody like you would have, that you beat a couple times. Like you pretty much raced everybody, like the fastest of the fastest so far this year.
For sure.
That was really well. So
I can't remember saying, "Oh man, this is everybody." Yeah, all the fastest guys for sure. We've been racing them all.
Yeah.
Kai Kelly in the grade 8, like you've had them all.
All of them all, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. You pretty much raced everybody so far.
Yes.
So obviously, right now, so you're third in points for the team on the Saturday event. You're third in grade 8 points right now, and then you're fourth overall in round wins total. As far as your expectations, have you met your expectations? Have you exceeded them? Like, what do you think of your first 5 weeks so far?
If we're going up to the 5 weeks, I think we've met our expectations for 5 weeks.
We've met them.
Yeah. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Like I wasn't expecting, we were being realistic. And Chris actually said, like, I've been thinking about 5 weeks. I don't know if you remember saying this. You said about 5 weeks. And sure enough, that was the one we won. He said, I bet you 5 weeks we'll be dialed in, because we went in only 2 test hits. We only have 28 runs on this combo.
4 days before the first race.
Yeah,
we were testing.
When we tested, it was the weekend before the race, and then had to go to the race. We only got 2 hits and went right into racing. So with 28 runs to win a No Prep King race, I mean, people know. I mean, that's hard to do, and yeah, we just got a good combo right now. We got a handle on it. I got a handle on the tune-up pretty good. I feel confident. Obviously, things can change. You don't want to get, I'm not expecting like, hey, we're going to go out there and win every race, man. They're just going to be tough,
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure, I mean, at this point right now, if I were like looking at how good of a season you've had so far, you probably had some goals at the beginning of the year. I think at this point, have those goals now, have they turned into expectations? Like, if you have goals of winning a championship, like you expect to win a championship now, don't you? I mean, currently where you're at.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're here to win it.
That's it. We're definitely here to win it. I don't want to finish second.
Grade 8, we're here to win it.
Yeah.
And you're one of the 4 people so far this year that has won their first No Prep Kings event in their career. And obviously there's no easy draws this year at all, any round. What do you think the biggest reason is for so much competition this year? Do you think it's the format? Do you think it's letting some of these future guys in?
Sorry, dude. I got to get my drink.
I got to get our alcohol on.
Yeah.
I got you. Actually, speaking of that, last time, Giuseppe, I had you on, you were drinking, and I felt bad to have you drink alone. So I'm drinking with you.
There we go. There you go.
No, but so why do you think it's so competitive this year? What do you think the biggest reason that it's so competitive this year?
Well, I think the blowers. I think everybody going to a supercharger or screw blower. Turbos are, I mean, I keep saying it's definitely the hardest to race on any surface, and then let alone no prep and what we have to deal with. A lot more guys have gone to Pro Charger screw. A lot more guys have stepped up, spent the money, got the right guys, tuners, blah, 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 right? Like, it's just, man, everybody's right there right now. There's a lot of fast
no
guys.
ducks.
Yeah.
None.
And
None.
yeah, and I'm not used to running a lot of rounds where every round is close, but now I'm getting used to it, which is the way you got to race, right? You can't be like, I got to beat this guy by 3 cars, because then you're not going to make it. You just got to expect it's going to be door to door, and just hopefully at the finish line, you cut a good light, this and that, and at the finish line we win by a fender, right, or half a car. I have enough to hold them off.
Giuseppe cuts a good light.
Yeah, I've been cutting good lights, and I always have. I've always been pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. So do you think so obviously there was the new format this year with the team competition and the grade 8 having separate points. How hard? I mean, so thinking about they're gonna crown the individual champion as the grade 8 winner. How much harder is it this year to win the individual championship than it is compared to last year? With basically you're having 2 sets of points. You got to do well on Saturday just to even get in the grade 8. Otherwise, you ain't gonna get no points in the grade 8. So talk about the struggles of that and how you got to be on your game every race, man.
Well, that's the thing. So now we roll into a race, which I'm not arguing that it's bitch and we're on the grade 8, but we get 1 run on Friday, and you got to be ready for grade 8. So you can't test and try different stuff. You got to make your tune-up set. So now you really only get 1 run to test, and then you got to be ready to race, right? So it's stressful because you're racing on Friday and you're racing on Saturday, and everything's got to count. Instead of normally on Friday, you could have been like, oh yeah, let me try a couple things, let me dial the car in, ready for Saturday. Well, now you can't try anything. It's just you got to make sure the car goes and try to win rounds and try to win that. So it's a lot, but at the end, if you can pull that off, man, you know, and I think whoever's doing good, obviously you're going to do good in both, right? If you're good on Saturday and you're going to do good on Friday. So I think those same, obviously you have to be in the grade 8, like you said, top 8.
Yeah. And it's crazy how, so Saturday is a qualifier for the grade 8 for the following Friday, but it's a totally different track. And then, so that doesn't matter really. And then, like you said, you get one test hit and then you got to race the top 8 guys at that point, you know, the top 8 guys. There's not a field of 32 where someone might get a bye. You might have maybe a duck or someone struggling. Like it's the top 8 guys right there with one test match.
Yeah, the best.
The guys that are on it every weekend. So
every week.
So yeah, it's tough. Every round's tough.
So Giuseppe, I was looking at the stats earlier. So of the top 15 guys this year on Saturday, there's for combinations, there's 8 Pro Chargers, 5 screws, and 2 nitrous. Do you think the Parity is good? Do you think a combo, maybe do you think the Pro Charger combo? I know there's guys running 2 different size blowers, but do you think the combo, do you think there's any advantage to any of the combos at this point?
I still think, if people are going to argue, I still think the screw blower, if you look at like Peter A and stuff like that, like all the other Pro Mod Association, a screw blower with 92% over, you take their similar cars, right? They're still 50 pounds heavier than a Pro Charge combo. And now they're actually 50 pounds lighter. So I still think the screws have the power and the mid and out the back. You know, we'll have to see when the tracks get good or the air gets bad, if they excel. But I still think the screws still have, if somebody figures it out, which Kai's running really good and he pulls hard and he's beat us twice and he pulls hard in the middle and out the back. I still think the screws have an advantage. You know, I mean, it's small, but it's minimal, but I guess it's fair. But I still think the screws still look pretty good if you wanted to go.
Yeah,
that
we should
route.
get a weight break.
Yeah, we should get another weight break.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
for sure.
The screws, I still think, and the nitrous cars are you know, when the circumstances are right, you know, I think Colorado will be a turbo car. If Colorado, the turbo cars have the advantage in altitude. That's for sure.
It's Ryan.
Yep.
Ford?
No.
Did you say Ford?
It's Fedner.
The last at the tree, lock it down. Yep.
Yeah, what was that race that you raced, Ryan, a couple years back?
We did.
Oh.
The first race I showed up to. If you're going back to Maryland, the first race.
Someone commented it. Yeah, that was. You can read the comment.
I think when you were.
Giuseppe made it to the finals and the Mustang against Ryan Marr in Bristol run and New Hampshire, and so that was the first one we showed up to, and we showed up, you know, not knowing much or no prep, tested like at our local track, showed up, went through everybody. The car was hauling ass at Maryland, and the track was like left alone. It was pretty good, so it played in our favor, and we were going to meet Ryan in the finals, and it rained out, and me and Ryan could argue back and forth on if that was going to happen at that racetrack. I feel like we were going to beat him that day. He was struggling, and the car was fast in that. And then we show up to New Hampshire for the makeup race, and it was bare concrete. I've never been. I mean, it was stripped, and I was like, man, what are we going to do? And the car wasn't balanced, wasn't right for it. And then we just struggled from there. All the tracks were pretty much like that. They were scrubbing them, and I'm over this.
Right. I brought that up I wanted to read that comment, Giuseppe, because it kind of dawned on me how long it's been since you've been to a final, man.
Yeah.
It had to mean a lot to you for you to win Epic, man. It had to mean everything to you.
Yes, we've been to a few semis after that and stuff like that. Well, but you know,
and half our team and our wives, or my wife, wasn't going to be to make New England.
Yeah.
Delayed flights, canceled flights. Everybody made it, and he wins in New England.
Yeah, my son was there.
His son, yeah.
Watch, give him there he is right there.
Hey, what's up, man?
That was my lucky charm. Tell him what you did, Giuseppe, right there. He rubbed my head every round before we went.
It was like the perfect storm, you know?
Yeah, so.
That's awesome. Hey, Giuseppe, I got a couple stats for you. You know, I do my stat thing every show. So there's some good ones, man, because you've been kicking ass so far this year. So it's been adding up to your – I mean, you haven't had a long career, No Prep Kings. You know what I mean?
We have never made like all the races except for the first season. Yeah.
Right. So all time now, as so far up to date, up to now's date, you're top 20 all time in round wins.
Oh, right on. That's huge.
For a few races you've been in, that's pretty good, man.
Yeah, it is.
And then for all the events, like the Grade 8, Invitational, Team Attack, you are now in the top 16 for going to the finals and events too. So.
Oh, shit. Yeah, man, we're moving up here.
Yeah, man.
So
man, you were kicking some ass, man.
Don't get mad at me. Can you do the stats and let us know tomorrow after he wins Tulsa where we'll be at?
Yeah, I can say that. I'll say that to you after you win Tulsa.
All right.
I'll tell you where you're gonna be at. If you want Giuseppe, if anybody watching right now, if you want to ask Giuseppe or Chris some questions, put it in the chat box. Those guys can see it. They'll read it. We have a couple more questions. So obviously, mine is Vegas, because I'm sure you're going to be looking for your home track. Which track are you looking forward to the most in the second half of the season here?
Vegas. I'm
Mine
looking
is
for
Vegas.
Vegas. Chris
Mine
is
is
a
Vegas.
little
I want to do Vegas.
Alabama.
Alabama's fun too. Colorado's fun.
Or Colorado last year. Colorado, yeah.
I'm just knowing Colorado's going to be a struggle for us.
He likes Vegas. He did the 4 wide. We have a huge following there. He's got a huge following. I get that. But
yeah,
Alabama or Colorado.
Nice. And then of these first 5 races, obviously New Hampshire had to be your favorite so far.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That went from. I guess I'll tell you a real quick story on that. Going into that, and I called Chris and we were talking, and I said, man, New Hampshire. The car was hit the wall there. Gucci had hit the wall there the previous year. I keep bringing it up, but let's talk about it.
How ironic is this?
I went with the Mustang, the screw-blown Mustang, kicked the rods out in the burnout, like on the in testing. So I was like, man, and then I lost to Ryan the year. So we had zero luck between both of us there, and we conquered it, right? So to win it, so that was huge. So yeah, all that stuff going into it.
And we talked about that.
Yeah.
When you were driving,
I know.
Drove up to it.
Yeah.
He drove the rig to New England.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. We're like, oh, we're going back to our arch enemy. He's like, something's got to change.
Something's got to. So we conquered it. So that was good. So definitely the track now.
Yeah. We got a question from Greg McIntyre. Said, did the rule affect y'all, or were you guys already on a 34.5-inch tire?
So we were on a 36 with the turbo. So the rule didn't change us at all because we started new with the Pro Charger and basically a brand new combo. So we didn't know any better. So no, the tire size didn't affect us at all.
Nice. Did any of the changes affect? I know obviously you made the changes for this season. Did any of them become like an issue you found that you had to change something? You're like, man, this isn't really working out.
Can I start?
Yeah, go for it.
So when Seppi wanted to change over to Pro Charger, and he knew we were going to be on 34.5s, there was a lot that went into the conversations every day and how he wanted the car to be, and with Larry Jeffers.
Yeah.
So when we got to Alabama for testing, you weren't that surprised.
No, I wasn't. He
was like, we've been planning this, talking to everybody,
Well,
you felt good about it.
Yeah, and we did. A lot of people don't know. I mean, that the nose was redone. It looks exactly the same, but it was a lightweight carbon nose. I said, Chris, we can't afford to have that thing 50 pounds too heavy on the nose. Right. And he's like, okay, whatever we got to do. So we made a carbon fiber front end, carbon doors. We had to get the weight off the front end of that car. Shock change,
all that done,
all the travel and so we weren't surprised. So no, there was a bunch of stuff that we had to do in preparation. It started from the end of last year all the way up.
All the way.
And I mean, we were working hard on the trailer. It's a lot of work, dude. Anybody who you got to appreciate, and we're not the only ones. Everybody's got to do that, right? To be ready for this stuff. I mean, tools and parts, and you don't. And it's hard for us because we can't. Like, oh, can we go check the trailer? No, we can't. The trailer doesn't come home to us. I can't go check the car, so we got to call and then Larry, Jeffers plays a big part because he works with us and gets stuff done. So,
and Mark Washington lives out there half the time.
Yeah. he drives and
he's
he
back and
handles
forth
it.
all the way,
Yeah, goes, drops the motor off to get
Yeah.
freshened up. He does a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for the rest of this break, I'm sure you guys are going to test at least once, twice yet. Do you think? I mean, the guys who run good in the first 5 races, do you think you guys got like a little upper hand now during this break because you guys can try to get faster? You already know you're fast, but you guys can maybe try some different things to get a little faster compared to other guys who are struggling, where they're going to have to try some things just to catch up to you guys. Like, talk about that.
Satisfied. He is not.
I'm not satisfied. No.
He's like, get the carbulators. This is what I want changed. We're gonna go out and test. I want to try this. The second half, he knows everybody's coming harder.
Yeah.
So he's not like, oh, we won, we're good. He's like, no, we got to get faster.
Yeah.
I know that.
And we got some spots there where I like that we picked up that I can hopefully roll and pick up a little bit more. There's not a bunch left, right? Like, it's scary good the runs where you're just like, ooh, things close to making really, really good runs. And there's guys out there that hopefully they're trying hard, hopefully, but I don't feel like I don't know. I mean, we obviously we won the race, so we were faster that weekend, right? But every weekend's new track, new surface. So
Yeah.
I mean, we feel very blessed.
yeah,
We feel very,
that
just on top of the world that we won, and we're where we at right now.
yeah,
But now we're not satisfied.
yeah. We got to still keep trying to win. Yeah, yeah.
Troy,
We're going
Mark,
for it.
Bob, Jack, everybody wants us so bad.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to keep doing good, put our heads down, and try to win rounds, try to win the championship. Look at the long haul, right? That's the thing. Be consistent and fast. It's not about winning just one race. So,
And we got a good team.
I'm excited for y'all.
The team part, we have a great team.
yeah.
Robin
We're all
Roberts.
working together, and then our team too. I feel like the team's good. Ryan's coming. Ryan's working his ass off. Robin, the Brooders, Chuck, everybody's. I feel like, man, we're gonna come strong in the second half here.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Ryan,
Yeah, Ryan too.
Ryan's going to come like a freight train second half.
Yeah.
No, that. Yep. For sure. Got a question from Kevin Stevenson for Giuseppe. Is driving for a team more or less stressful than driving your own car?
You know what? With Chris, I'd say less stressful because we all share the load, right? He's doing his part, I do my part, the crew does their part, so it's actually less stressful. We're having fun. It makes it easier. Chris is all about 2A.
Seppi makes all the decisions. I'm like, he's like, Chris, what do you want to do? Sepp, whatever you want to do, let's do it.
I put it off on him though. I come and ask him. I put the load on him. I said, "What do you want to do?" Because he's watching the cars. I'm not watching. I'm not at the start. So now Chris actually watches the cars. I'm like, "Who do you think's fast?" And he's like, "Man, he's doing good, but not that good." And I do take that into consideration because he's actually been right. Like, "Oh man, he's struggling. Don't overthink this guy. Whoever it is." And then it's like, "Okay, I'll leave the tune up the same. What do you think?" He goes, "Yeah, just leave that tune up. That should be enough to beat him." And that takes the stress off of me because I like to try to push it off on him. I let him make the calls on that too. But then he'll be like, "Oh no, you make the final call." Then we go back and forth. But
we have enough parts, motor, whatever. I tell Seppi, do your thing. I believe in you.
Yeah.
If you have to push it, lean on it, whatever, let's win this.
Yeah, it's funny. Like Ryan's like, "Hey, is Chris all right with you stepping on it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, Chris said do whatever the fuck you got to do." And I'm like, "Oh man," but yeah, I don't want to break stuff. I don't want to, you got to do it right. So when you find the edge, you just step back a little bit. If you go too fast, so it's been trying to just do it, creep on it, and that's what we've been doing, right? Instead of going over center and then you don't know where that is and you just blew up a motor for no reason. If we're gonna hurt something, I want to know where it is so we can come back on it.
And Chris, I will tell you, Fuel Tech and Pro Charger, along with everybody else, has been so great to us this year.
Yeah.
It has been the transition from Halt Tech to Twin Turbo to Fuel Tech to Pro Charger has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
So shout out to all of them. Thank you.
Yeah, we got a question from Paul Summers. Basically, he's asking how it's like to your tuning abilities going from a turbo to a blower.
So how do you your tuning abilities have progressed from turbo? So I guess that's a good question. So if you can turn a turbo car good, a blower, screw blower, or Pro Charger, in my opinion, is easy because a turbo, you're really, it's like I always say, it's the hardest thing to race. You got turbo, you got your wastegate, pressure is coming in. You can't slow the motor down. If you slow the motor down, the turbo don't care. It's still making the boost. For a Pro Charger or a screw blower, if you slow the motor down with timing, it slows the boost down, and you can control the car. So running a turbo all my career, or whatever, 20 years, makes a Pro Charger deal, a lot easier to run and control. And you're like, oh, this is easy, and you don't have a shitload of power out the back. It's you can't really make a bunch of mistakes because it is what it is. You just got to get it going fast early, So
Yeah.
Said the whole last 8 months.
yeah, it's like we got a trust
60-foot 330,
and the rest will take care of itself. Yeah.
Yep, and it sure has, man. You guys have been so successful this year.
Paul's on our crew, by the way.
Paul's on our crew.
Okay.
He's great too. Yeah.
We'll do one more question. Don McKay is going to end it out here.
Okay, which MPK race all the drivers would you like to line up in the finals and beat?
I know mine.
I know mine. Okay, you can't change yours. I know mine.
I'm gonna go. Are you gonna go?
Yeah, you go first.
Are you guys doing good over here?
Nate.
Ooh, you want Nate in the finals and beat Nate?
I'm just gonna say Nate. That's it.
He wants Nate. For me, I want Ryan. He's on our team.
Okay.
That's good for points, right? Like we both made it to the final for points, and then it would be a fun race because whoever wins that one, and he's beat me, so I'm still looking for payback on Ryan Martin. You know what I mean?
Well,
so he got me in Maryland that first race and the
right.
final, so I'm still looking for payback on Ryan.
And Chris, anybody we name, it's because we have respect for them. They're fast. Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you want to line up against the guys that
Yeah.
can you're like, wow, right? So Nate's fast.
Yeah.
Ryan, I get it. You have a little bit of
Kai, I want Kai right now. I want Kai Kelly. He's got us
actually,
twice. I want to
may
get Kai.
change Nate to Kai.
Yeah, I want to get Kai.
Because Kai beat us in the grade A.
Why? Once in Virginia, and then not in grade
But
eight.
let's tell him what happened with Kai. No excuses, but I posted.
We had Kai, and then we knocked a couple push rods off. So I felt that weekend
At the last.
and he got us. And
Kai's badass. He's badass.
Oh,
and not for sure we would have won, right? And then the second race we had with Kai, he knew, he stepped it up. I did not. I kicked myself in the ass because I was like, oh, let's see what this tune-up will do. It was close, and he pulled us off. And now we'll just got to know we got to be faster.
Kai's kicking ass.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he's on Noonan.
Yeah, he's got Noonan too. Yeah, Noonan powered.
Yeah. Well, fellas, first off, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show tonight, man. It's great to have you guys take time out of your day, meet up, do a little dinner, and come for the Stat Guy show. So I really appreciate it, man. I'm a huge fan of both you guys. Met you guys in person. You guys are great dudes. What's up, Chris?
He's
Where's George? You showed it earlier.
Yeah, man. Cheers, you guys. I wish you guys the best of luck for the rest of the year. And I will be in Tulsa. All right.
All right, man.
All right,
We'll see you
later.
guys. All right, later.